Hi, my name is Jansen Lublin, and this is my speech on how to prevent the coronavirus and different ways that we can stop spreading it to different people. In 1981, there was an author named Dean Koontz who wrote a novel, The Eyes of Darkness. In his novel, there was a few lines that's talking about Wuhan 400. The Wuhan 400 is like a deadly weapon, or in this case, it only attacks humans and can't attack animals or anything, just like the coronavirus. Also, the name Wuhan 400, Wuhan specifically, the city of China, Wuhan, is where the coronavirus originated, which is another kind of thing that predicted it. Also, Sylvia Browne, a pretty well-known psychic who's predicted many things in the past, and they have come true. She predicted back in 2008 that there would be a pneumonia-like virus that attacks the lungs and bronchioles, just like the coronavirus symptoms. And she predicted that there would be no cure and it'd spread really quickly. But as quickly as it came, it would also go away pretty quickly. So we have not yet defined that out yet. Let's get on to the topics. So some of my topics is washing your hands, social distancing, and how there's multiple states that have been on full state lockdown now. And this is all just trying to prevent a massive spread of coronavirus. Just washing your hands alone is a good way of getting rid of germs. From the CDC, just washing your hands for 20 seconds gets rid of most germs. And from what we've seen, it's actually pretty true. Harvard Medical School said just washing your hands alone for 15 seconds gets rid of about 90% of germs on your hands. But if you just do another additional 15 seconds, washing your hands for 30 seconds total, you remove 99.9% of germs, which is, I would say, is pretty good. Gets rid of most of the germs on your hands and less likely to spread. So I have a nice little video of how to wash your hands.
Washing your hands is your first line of defense. It's definitely more important than ever with the pandemic of coronavirus. Hi, I'm Samantha Hill. I'm a cardiac surgeon in downtown Toronto, and I'm president-elect of the Ontario Medical Association. The optimum time for hand washing is at least 20 seconds. The first thing that you want to do when you're washing your hands is use your hands to turn on the faucet. It's important to remember that you've now used dirty hands to turn on the faucet. You're going to wet your hands, and then you're going to reach over and grab some soap. And your soap should be enough to cover the surfaces of both hands. The temperature of the water should be warm, not too hot, not too cold, something comfortable for you. You then take that amount of soap, and you put your fingers in it on both sides. You then use the fronts of both hands, and you rub palm against palm, either in a circular motion or in a back and forth motion. What's important to remember here while you're doing this is that you want to get in between each of your fingers. This motion is a good motion to do them all at the same time, and then you want to do the other side. Having done this, you then turn your hand over and you do the back of one hand. Again, circular motions over the flat part of your hand, up and down a little bit to get the fingers, and then in between each of the surfaces, not forgetting your thumb and the space in between it. And then you do your other hand, same concept. You just rub slowly, nice circles over the palm of your hand, back and forth to get the back of the fingers, and then in between each of the fingers like this. At this point, you're almost done. You're going to want to go around each of your fingers individually to make sure you've gotten all of the surfaces of the fingers, and then you're all done. You're going to rinse your hands under that warm water. Make sure you get all the soap off because it can be quite abrasive if you leave it on. Use a paper towel to dry your hands. Make sure your hands are nice and dry, and then use that same paper towel to turn off the faucet. Over the course of the day, we touch
Notice there at the end kind of how she used a paper towel to turn off the faucet, because at the beginning she stated that you're turning on a faucet with dirty hands. So the faucet is now dirty. So just these little steps of using a paper towel to turn off the faucet is also another way of just keeping the germs off of your body and best way of getting rid of the coronavirus. Social distancing. Social distancing is really just to slow down the spread of the virus, because if you're not in contact with other people, you can't really get the virus. The CDC recommends that you stay about 6 feet away from each other when in public. I mean, with your family, you can be with your family, of course, but when in public, always try and keep 6 feet of distance. And during, social distancing, you really want to just stay at home. Staying at home as much as you can, unless going out for necessities, like going to grocery stores, going to the doctors if you are ill, or if you need to go for routine checkups and stuff like that. And then also just food, going to restaurants, and but mainly for takeout, just getting food. Not really trying to stay anywhere where other people are at. That's social distancing. And I have a little video from the CDC about trying to help.
We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is, why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
We know that we're asking Americans.
And with social distancing, it's really trying to keep people away from each other, especially with older people and younger children that are really able to get damaged from the coronavirus and have higher risks of having more severe symptoms. And then this is a little chart here of where where there was no measures taken, no social distancing, that there's a lot more cases. If you can see, it's more exponential growth since there was no social distancing. But since there's been some social distancing from that, you can notice that there's not as much of a spread of people, not as many cases in a certain amount of days since there's been this distance, which is a really good improvement, which is good to know. Lockdowns. So a lot of states, or just a few states now, have really locked down and said, hey, we don't want anybody out, we don't want people mingling and stuff like that. So California, New York, Washington, and a few other states, especially Ohio. Ohio is very recent, a couple days ago, just became part of the lockdown. With the lockdown, it's just to really slow down the spread as much as possible. It's like social distancing, but now everything is closed. There it goes from gyms, even gyms from LA. Gyms in LA were the first ones to really close down, but now everywhere in California is closed down. And all restaurants are open pretty much. Most restaurants are open, but they're only open for takeout or delivery. And all schools are closed down until the virus really dies down or anything. And I have a video here of downtown LA with a nice little drone view that can really just show you when it loads. Maybe. You've and it's just downtown LA. If you really look, downtown LA is always so packed. So many people, so many cars. But you're looking now, this is from a few days ago. There's absolutely no one on the streets. There's a couple people here and there that you can see there's a person on the crosswalk and another couple cars. But it's just crazy to think like this lockdown has really got everybody kept indoors and stuff. And there's also the Santa Monica Pier that's coming up here pretty soon. Empty. Completely empty. There is no one on the Santa Monica Pier, which is absolutely insane because the Santa Monica Pier is just always used to be so packed with so many people there every day. And this is just showing that people are really trying to slow down this virus because they realized it can't be controlled. While washing your hands, you should really wash your hands for 20 seconds or more. I always found using hot water, a good decent amount of soap to really get on both your hands, and then turning off the sink, either using a paper towel at the end or using your elbows so you're not using your hands that you're usually touching everything with. Social distancing, the CDC recommends you stay 6 feet apart from each other, and social distancing is just going to keep slowing things down. And staying at home as much as you can is probably the best thing that you can do. And lockdowns is only put out there just to slow down, just to prevent more spreading happening, and really keeping people together and just keeping people separate from each other. And with all of this, really, what can you do to prevent the coronavirus? Thank you.